Okay, latency test 2, and just arm this to record. Okay, so I'll quickly show you the settings in Reason. So we're going to Preferences, Audio. So we're working at 48,000 kilohertz, 48 kilohertz, 48,000 hertz. The buffer size is 64 samples. It's reporting an input latency of 7 milliseconds, output latency 4 milliseconds. There's no recording latency compensation, so whatever this is should be the sum time of the IS converters out and back in, and any time for the ASIO driver for Reason, right? So like Reason and Mixbus will have an ASIO driver associated with it, whereas radar mode won't, or the what would be an ASIO driver is kind of incorporated into that system, so it's slightly different. Okay, so I'll just record this now, and I'll put a click on first. Not pre-click. Okay, so that what you're seeing there, that difference between that point there and this point here, is the latency of the signal going out through the IS converters and coming back in through the IS converters and being recorded. It should be going through an ASIO driver as well, in and out, so obviously that's going to add a little latency. So we can kind of measure this. Let me get a pen and piece of paper. Okay, so we've got Reason. So the start point there is 123111, and the time code, or the time on there, is 00808. So what I'm going to do is just bring this to that point and just get it on the downbeat a little bit further. Yeah, it's quite kind of fiddly, this. Yeah, that's more or less it, right? So now we see the let me put original and loop, and we see 123112, and the time on that is 00809, which works out at a millisecond. I mean, you know, this is just crazy, right? You've seen this on the camera. I've got a drum beat on this track, right? I've looped it back onto this track, and the time code is saying that it's around a millisecond. You know, that point there is 808 milliseconds, and that point there is 809 milliseconds. What I'm going to do now is export this file here and do the same thing in Harrison Mixbus and in radar mode. So okay, so I'm setting up for Harrison Mixbus now. I just want to show you this page as the setup page. So we've got the IS Adrenaline ASIO drivers. The sample rate is 48 kilohertz, same as in Reason, and buffer size 64 samples, 1.3 milliseconds. And we're going to IS Lat Test 2, and there's our file. Okay, so we're set up in Mixbus now. Here's the original file from Reason that I exported from Reason, and this is a track I'm going to record the latency on, so it's just a matter of... There we go. So we're into radar now, and this is the original file that I've imported in. I'm going to re-record it now through this loop, so let me start that. There we go. Okay, so I've bounced this out of radar, and we've got the original here, and this is mixed bus here. I don't know if you can remember in the last video, there was a discrepancy when I was recording it, and there was a few milliseconds, so I moved these forward. So this here is the bounce out of reason, and it's looped, and that's the beginning of the next one there, and yeah, it looks to me around under a millisecond, yeah, which is crazy, right? And just to re-emphasize how crazy this is, it's the minimum buffer sample size, 64 samples. The input latency is 7 milliseconds. The output latency here says, so I mean, it should be 11 milliseconds at least, alright? It should be, but it's not. There's no recording latency compensation on at all. So that's absolutely crazy, but that's the size of the loop. So you know, this is the second video this has happened in, right? You know, I thought maybe the first time I'd made some kind of mistake, or you know, but so I thought I'll do it again, and again the mix, but you know, the mix bus one is quite a long delay. What's that? That's about 10 milliseconds, right, from there to there. And there is a buffer in mix bus which is set at 10 milliseconds. You know, I'll look into that anyway, but that's no discredit to mix bus at all. Harrison have done a fantastic job with it. I love using mix bus, so especially in the Radar Studio, you know, with the great conversion. So now let's look at Radar again, right? So Radar isn't using an ASIO driver. It's got its own driver, I guess, in the BIOS, in the operating code, and yeah, it's 2 milliseconds, right? So between here and here is 2 milliseconds, right? So that's out through the conversion and back in again, right? So I mean, that's incredible, right? I mean, 2 milliseconds, absolutely fantastic. I think it might even be a little bit less than that, but you know, I've never known Reason to be this fast at all. I mean, you know, it's absolutely stunning. So I don't know what to say. This is the second video I've replicated the same results. Anyway, I'm very happy with Radar Studio, and I'm happy with all the DAWs I'm running. So thanks for bearing with me. Thanks for watching. Till next time. Bye now.